Jazzcast Pros.
When you think about your health, you might think about how to fuel your body, what to eat, maybe what to avoid. You think about how to move your body, how often, how intensely, how intentionally. You think about how to manage your stress, carving out time for mindfulness, recovery, and self-care. But there's one missing piece from that equation, the foundation that amplifies them all, and that's how well you sleep. Sleep is not just rest. It's the biological process that determines how effectively your body uses the food you eat, responds to the workouts you do, and recovers from the stress you carry. So in this week's episode of the Doze Podcast, we're exploring why sleep remains the most overlooked pillar of wellness and how reclaiming it can help you transform the way you heal, the way you perform, and the way you live. Hello, I'm your host, Soda Kuczkowski. I'm a sleep health educator and a certified sleep coach. And for 2 decades, I've worked in sleep medicine, health, and coaching, helping people just like you transform how they think about sleep. My mission is to shift the way you view it, not as something you'll get to later, but as a foundation for your health, performance, and personal transformation. Because when you start with sleep, everything else works better. Here's the thing. Sleep makes it into almost every conversation, but usually as a complaint, not a commitment. You know, it's at the top of what you talk about, yet it's at the bottom of what you prioritize. You know, you talk about being tired, but rarely take action to change it. You overhaul your diet, sign up for a fitness challenge, and squeeze in meditation on your lunch break, but you won't protect your rest. And now maybe you're someone different. Maybe you've started tracking your sleep, which is a great first step. But tracking alone isn't transformation. The numbers don't matter if you don't know how to make them all work together. The truth is, you can't short yourself on sleep and expect the other pillars, nutrition, movement, stress management, to do all the work. Yes, those things help you get better sleep, but starting with sleep sets the tone for your entire lifestyle. It's what helps your body regulate the rest. So today, I want to take you beyond food, fitness, and stress management and show you why restoration is what makes all those other pillars work their best. Now, we live in a wellness culture obsessed with doing. You know, you might count macros, track steps, manage stress like it's another item on your to-do list. But when it comes to your sleep, it often gets treated like background noise. You might even brag about how little you get or tell yourself it's optional so you can squeeze in one more thing. But here's the irony of that. Sleep is the only time that your body fully repairs, regulates, and integrates everything else you do for your health. Without restorative sleep, that's how well you sleep, your brain can't focus, your hormones can't balance, and your metabolism, it can't regulate. You can eat right, work out consistently, and still feel like you're dragging. That's not a lack of motivation. That's your biology signaling to you that your system is out of sync. Because when the amplifier is off, nothing plays at full volume. You know, when you sleep, your body doesn't power down, it powers up internally. It repairs muscle, consolidates memory, regulates appetite hormones, and resets the immune system. Sleep isn't just about recovery, it's about recalibration. It's how your body takes all the good that you're doing, eating well, moving your body, managing stress, and locks in the benefits. It's how your brain turns intention into progress. So while nutrition, movement, and stress management are the inputs, sleep is a system that integrates them. It's the quiet process that gives your effort staying power. You know, and maybe you've said to yourself before, I'll catch up on sleep this weekend, which, as a side note, you can't catch up on sleep, right? You can offset sleep debt, but you can't catch up on sleep. Or maybe you've said, I just need to push through this week. But your body doesn't work that way. You can't bank sleep just like you can't store oxygen. When you short yourself on rest, you lose the ability to absorb nutrients, process information, and regulate emotions in real time. Sleep debt compounds, and eventually your body collects it through fatigue, poor focus, mood swings, and stalled progress. So the next time you're tempted to sacrifice sleep for productivity, remember, you're not gaining time. You're trading capacity. When you sleep well, you absorb more nutrients from your food. You regulate hormones that control hunger and metabolism. You recover faster from movement and training. And you think more clearly and connect more deeply. Sleep amplifies the impact of everything else you do right. Without it, nutrition loses power, exercise loses efficiency, and stress management loses traction. With it, everything you invest in health becomes more effective, more sustainable, and more rewarding. That's why I always say don't start your wellness plan with just food or fitness. Start with sleep, because when you strengthen your sleep, every other pillar rises with it. So here's something to think about. What if sleep isn't what you do after the work? What if it's what makes the work work? What if rest isn't the pause between your goals, but the bridge that connects them? If you start to see sleep as an act of strength, not surrender, you'll realize that discipline isn't just about what you add to your routine. It's also about what you protect. Food nourishes, movement strengthens, stress management protects, but sleep amplifies and sustains it all. Here's the thing. You show up for your goals, your work, your workouts, your relationships with consistency and intention. But when it comes to your sleep, that same level of commitment tends to disappear. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't skip a meeting with your boss or a training session at the gym. Why would you skip the one appointment that truly determines how well you show up for all the others? Protecting your sleep is not just about being rigid. It's about being respectful of your limits. It's drawing a boundary that says, my health, my focus, and my energy matter. When you give sleep the same respect you give your goals, something powerful happens. You make decisions with clarity instead of fatigue. You recover faster physically and mentally, and you show up more present for the people and priorities that matter most. Because the reality is you can't outperform what you do not recover from. The world rewards output, but your body runs on input, and sleep is the most important one you have. So treat your bedtime like the strategy meeting for tomorrow's success. Turn off the noise, set the boundary, and give yourself permission to rest fully, unapologetically, and intentionally. So I want you to protect your rest, to protect your growth, and that's how sleep stops becoming something you get to later and becomes the quiet power behind everything you achieve. Now, if you're ready to see how your sleep can transform not just your nights, but your days, I want you to join me virtually or in person at the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus Food as Medicine Symposium this upcoming Saturday, October 25th, where we'll be taking this conversation even further. Until next week, remember to protect your rest, because it's where your best work, your best ideas, and your best self begin. Sleep well.